Hey all, it's Baby Rosa here, and once more into the void we go. This time with Halloween, the new one, not the original. Of course, I've seen that movie before this point. This is the and then the 2018 sequel that shares the exact same name as the original. Seems to be a trend that's going around. Second movie of the month I've reviewed that's done that little trend. Anyway, now chronologically, Halloween is eccentric at best. And most of the sequels, well, are kind of a mixed bag. Well, first off, Halloween. Go through Halloween, I believe, 6. One solid, easy to follow plot line. A little convoluted at the end, but easy enough. With the exception of Halloween 3, which has nothing to do with anything, so we can set that one aside, disregard it. Then, 20 years ago, came Halloween Age 20, which Jamie Lee Curtis reprises her role as Laurie Strode and disregards all previous sequels except for Halloween and Halloween 2, and picks it up 20 years after the original. And to decent effect. And then that movie got a sequel, and they looked like they were going to keep going in that regard, but then they didn't. Rob Zombie took over and made 2 remakes, but that's remakes, we can set those aside, talk about them another time. Then along came Halloween, which disregards then everything. Disregards Halloween Age 20 and Resurrection. Disregards the original run of sequels. Even Halloween 2 is then disregarded, and this was a direct sequel, albeit 40 years after the fact, to the original Halloween. So Halloween follows Halloween, and none of the others. Now, the sequels of Halloween, most of them on my MacGuffin scale get a mediocre at best. Several of them are lacking, and a few of them fall all the way down to 1 MacGuffin. Oh dear. But this one seems to have escaped that little thing, and this is probably the best Halloween sequel I've seen. Now, I'm curious to see if in 20 years this trend continues and Jamie Lee Curtis, when she is in her 80s, if they make a Halloween follow-up, because it seems every 20 years she's back in for it again, so curious if it's going to happen. Be interesting, but probably unnecessary. Now, this one takes place, like I said, 40 years after the original Halloween. Now, throughout that time, Michael Myers has been in an asylum and has been locked away, still doing his not speaking, creepy boogeyman vibe. Dr. Loomis has passed away, and his protege is. They might as well just call him Dr. Loomis, too. He is doing his best Donald Pleasance impression, and he down to the voice. It's like Dr. Loomis diet. It's almost to the point of ridiculousness at that. But so we have him and his doctor, and there's a crew that's kind of trying to study Michael Myers as well as Jamie Lee Curtis's reprised role of Laurie Strode, who is now a grandmother and a bit of a survivalist, gun nut, and paranoid recluse. Given the events that happened in the original Halloween, she's essentially practiced with guns, knowing that one day she's going to be put in a situation where she would have to defend her family, and in doing so has essentially ruined her relationship with her daughter, who is doing her best to try to live a normal life, and who is married with her own child. So we got grandmother Laurie Strode, who's trying to touch base with her granddaughter. It's an interesting family dynamic they've got going on there, and they do it very good. Jamie Lee Curtis is a standout in this one, playing a character that's clearly been through a lot and is still haunted by it. She does a very good job at portraying that. Now, this movie follows a very similar feel to the original Halloween. There's a lot of the original score, some of it remixed to a decent effect to still sound a little bit different, but enough is recognizable that it's very nostalgic. A lot of it does just feel like as if Michael Myers just could have broken out at any point, and this exact same thing would have happened. It feels like just a solid Halloween entry. That said, it doesn't really break any particularly new grounds, with the exception of one or two twists, which I'm not going to spoil. But, and it definitely goes a little bit into the CG gore, which pushes it a little bit, but it's never focused on long enough to be too bad. I don't see. What else is there to say about this one? Um, like I said, it was good to hear the Halloween score, which is almost a character in and of itself, and more than just the theme, a lot of the other background music does come back to some effect, and it just brings a smile to hear that going again. Um, the way this one's set up is this one, in theory, could be the last Halloween, but they've made movies where Michael has been completely killed only to retcon it or alter it, so it's possible to do a sequel here, but I don't see one coming. So, might be finally putting putting the mask aside for a while, unless someone else wants to try their hand at a remake, but I think that's ground that's already been treaded and can let this one lie for a while. This sequel, though, I did like it. On my MacGuffin scale, I'm going to give it a above average, 4 MacGuffins out of 5. And yeah, I do highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you're a fan of Halloween, you will not be disappointed. If you're not a fan, well, you probably haven't seen enough of them to care anyway. So, well, Halloween, 2018, 4 out of 5. Check it out.